Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations, continuing on with our ACFU combat stuff. This will be the last video. It is also the longest because we have to set up the animations. Um, and before we jump right into it, obviously the rest of this we'll be handling the ACF ability system component, which is a child of the ability system component. Um, so it's important to note that you have to do one of two things if you want the animations to work. First, no matter what, you have to create an ability set for the weapons. And then you have to choose where you place it. So you can place it here if you want to. The other option is to place it on, you could create a, here in the data asset, not in the data asset. If we come in here to, where's the equipment component? Right there. If we go ahead, come to our spear, you could create a variable here in the spear that is of a type of this data asset. So ACF ability set, and then have it set this animation asset up here upon being equipped. Now, in the future, we do plan on doing that for boss weapons. For the general stuff that everyone's going to have access to, obviously we're just going to place it here on the animation directly. That way we just have one data asset that that way we only have this in one location. It's about having it's in as few locations as possible. Now, all this stuff is soft reference, so technically speaking, it's extremely cheap. So if you wanted to have all of your base weapons and then 150 more because boss weapons might have unique ones, then you can go ahead and do that. For me in my house, we are going to do it this way. So if we type in ability, we look for ACF, grant ability set, right there. So we can choose the ability set, and we can choose the moveset tag, and then it will add it for us. So you would do that in your data asset on equip. So you would override the on equipped function, get the parent, and then do this. Very simple, very easy. Save. For us, because it's the general spear, we're just going to place it on there. So let's go ahead and click on here. Obviously, we need to the plus sign, of course. Collapse all. This key gameplay tag, we need to look for the spear. Moveset spear. If you recall on our weapon, when we were setting the, you know what? It's right here. Just open this up. The moveset actions. Moveset.spear. What we're creating right now is the moveset actions. Moveset ability. So this is where we're going to set that up. Let's go ahead and create one. So we can right click, come to the ACF combat, abilities, ACF ability set. There we go. AS for ability set, spear animations underscore WC. And let's open it up. And now that we have it, we're also going to, so that we don't forget, we're going to set it in our component. That way, when we go to test, everything will work. So for us, we need action abilities. We don't need a general ability for this. That's just a normal gameplay ability. Action abilities are the things that originally were once Pask's original combat system. Like I said in my comparison video that I did, ACF just encapsulated everything into the gameplay ability system. That way we can. That way there's very little change for current customers, um, which is pretty cool. So the first thing we want to do is the trigger tag. We want things as generic as possible. That way, um, the proper word is agnostic as possible. That way, when every single weapon, when that set comes in, it's just actions.attack. That way, you don't have to have 1,000,005 different branches and exceptions and loops and all that stuff. It's just going to look for actions.attack and do the attack. Next thing we are going to do is we're going to search for ACF attack. So I'm not sure what the ACF attack action BP is. My stuff is just using action. I'll go look at BP in a little bit. Now we're going to put down the drop down at ACF. As you can see, we need ourselves an animation. This is where things will get a bit complicated. And that's okay. So that I can easily get to my staff here. Where is it? Not staff, spear, general. So we need to create an animation montage. So first we're going to do this one, and we will create a montage. AM spear attack WC. Remember, you don't have to do the WC. That one's mine. So now, if I open this up, bring it over, here is my jab. But we're not just doing that. We need all of these. So we'll now come to combo 2. And then combo 3. And combo 4. Obviously, things look a little jumbled right now, and that is okay. We're going to fix that up right now. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to pause because it's distracting otherwise. Pause the other one. Now we will right click, new montage section, combo 2. We want to make sure it lines up perfectly with the green. Right click, new, combo 3. Right click, new, combo 4. Okay, whoops. Everything looks good to go. The next thing we need to do is come over here to the right where we see the montage sections and hit the arrow, remove link. We're going to do that for all of them. There we go. That way, when we play them, it only plays the section we want. Now then, go ahead and pause that again. We need 3 notify tracks. So I'm going to add 3 notify, make sure that there's 3 notify tracks. The first one we want is the ACF notify exit action. So I'm going to put that up here at the top. Just make this bigger. Zoom in. There we go. Add notify ACF notify exit action. Oh. There we go. And we now need to find the best place to exit the action. So, as you can see, this one's a rather fast attack. So So we will place that one right here. So if it doesn't receive a second click before this point, it'll end the ability. Excuse me. So if you need a little extra time, you can push it forward. You can push it back to the right. If it's too jittery, you can push it back to the left. Either way, it's up to you. So the next thing we need to do is the ACF activate damage notify state. So here in the second one, ACF action damage notify state. This is very important. So let's quickly go over it. You'll see that the ACF notify action has nothing there. You can just change the color and whatnot. But this notify state, damage to activate. Right weapon only, left weapon open only, left and right weapon. So if you're dual wielding and you have an animation that has them, crossing their weapons and slashing forward, then you'd want them both activated. And then physical damage. So this is something that is commonly missed. So I will go ahead and express this right here. If you have it set to physical damage, then you have to use the trace channels. If you don't, the example that recently came over was a bear. So the 2 front paws and then the jaw for the 3 separate attacks. If you don't, then all 3 of those traces are going to activate, which means if the player overlaps with all 3 of them, they get hit 3 times. So that means you'll need to hit the plus sign and then name that here. And you may be wondering, well, where does that come from? So if you look here, the trace channel, we just need a name. I'm going to go ahead and open up our spear real quick. Our spear actor. Bring that over here. Oh, that's not the spear actor. There we go. Right here. Damage traces. So we would copy this, come to the animation, select this, and place it right there. Now it's connected. Now it will only activate those traces. Now for all these other 3, this will also work. You would need to set the you could set this up that way. You can have it to where certain conditions need to be met, and then set each trace specifically for each combo. That way, if you let's see, there are there are games with this type of setup where the last 1 or 2 animations have fire attached to it because that's just how they chose to do the scene. That at that point is when you would add the fire trace. So if you're trying to control these things, you want just weapon damage for the first 3, then you would need to set that here. And then for the last one, it's weapon and fire damage. Do that here. That's something that you'll learn and understand better through trial and error and practice. So for us, right here is where we need to activate the animation and jab. So the jabbing is right there. Perfect. And the last one is warping. Yeah. So the last one is called ACF warp to target. So we'll right click. It's a notify state. It's right there. No need to type for it. Warp to target. So you can use this however you see fit, but I tend to make sure that I only use it on footsteps. So you can see the foot is moving forward. So I'm going to go ahead and do that too. So I want the player to be able to completely dodge it. So we'll go ahead and leave it to the length that it is at. Now that is not everything we need to do, if I recall correctly. Yes, he made a change here. So warp target, we're just going to name it, leave it named as target. There we go. Come down here, rotation mode, slurp with clamped rate. We're just going to do slurp, and then warp rotation time multiplier 0.5. That's how Pasc has it. You can play with this however you see fit. Obviously, read how all of this works, because that'll explain everything for you. Because smartly so, Pasc is using the systems that Epic Games already has set up for the Unreal Engine. So go ahead and hit save. And that is just the first one. We now need to do it for the other three. So I will do it for one more in recording, then I will pause and finish it so we can then make sure everything works. So for me, at this point, I'm just going to select all three of these notifies, copy, come over here. I'm going to make sure I click on this first row, hit paste. There we go. So now it's time to set this one up correctly. So as you can see, this one now pulls back and starts stepping. So we're going to have a yeah. So we're going to have the warp start about right there. Just like that. And then till about right there is where the warp will end. We'll have the attack animation, or the attack notify start right there. And we'll go to about that point. And now we are going to come over to 3 so we can see where that one ends. Okay. So yeah, just like that. Now you will run into animations where they don't sync correctly. And when we have an animation set that does do that, I'll create a video for it to help people understand how Unreal Engine works, because that's an Unreal Engine limitation, not an ACF issue. But I will certainly help you guys understand that. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this real quick and get the other two done, and then we can get this ability finish set up so that we can test it out. All right, so we've got all of mine set up and done. Remember, make sure you mess with these if they are not to your liking. These being the notifies, make sure that they are set up exactly how you want. So now that we have our animation created, our animation montage created, come back in here to our ability, and anim montage, place that right there. So after we've done that, we need to check a few things. We come here to the action config, and it looks like he has an action cost. If you don't want your weapons attacks to have a cost, then you can just skip that part. But he has the stamina right there, and it costs 32. There we go. And then, sorry, looking through my notes here. We have in here attribute modifier. And under attributes mod, the plus sign, he has the value set to 30. Melee damage, Sorry, making sure because there's quite a bit to go over. Warp info. We come over here to warp. He has this set to 2000, 0, 360, and 10. Play with this so that you get the warping effect that you want. And the ability level we have set to 1. So for this one, that's all we need. I do recommend you take a look at his actions because he also has one for jumping and for heavy attacks and for attack 2 and attack 3 and for horse attacks, which is mounted combat. So keep all of that in mind. It's quite important to make sure that you have that set correctly. But we are just making sure the normal attack works. File and save. If you recall, we already have it set here under spear. So in theory, when we hit play, there we go. Now obviously I need to work on the hand placement of where my spear is at, but it works. So for me, that's all that matters. I'm going to go ahead and pause real quick though and adjust that so we can go into Pask's channel, or not channel, his level, and make sure that the spear does do damage. So 1 second. Okay, so now if we jump on in to the level, as you can see, I've adjusted my spear. We're going to lock on. You will see an issue. It's an animation issue, not an ACF issue. So it's something we're going to have to adjust or get better animations for. If we come in here, the first one misses because it's going off to the right. But as you can see, I'm doing damage with the other attacks. So we are good to go. Everything is working as intended and as expected. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope that that has helped you all understand ACFU a little bit more. And I hope you look forward to future videos of things that me and my team work on with ACFU and bring to you guys to help your development journey as well. Have a great day.